Hello, you wonderful humans. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. It's time for a Wednesday weekly workshop where you get to ask Drew anything. The goal of these workshops, we do them every week on Wednesday at 7 o'clock so that we are destroying the boundary between what we know and what you can know. We want to make sure that everything that we've ever been taught, because let's face it, everything I know I've been taught, that I can share it with you, that you have free access to somebody who will go over natural ways to support your health and well-being. We like to avoid side effects. We like to avoid complications. So the things we're using here are whole food-based supplements and different food strategies. But we also talk a lot about natural things you can do to support your body also, like how to move it or how to breathe certain ways to support different actions in the body. So you can chat in your questions, and we got the incomparable Lori LeClaire, Two Boots, here to read those chatted in questions. I also know there have been some people who have sent in questions early this week. Thank you to the people who did that. It was Kathy and it was Zara also sent in questions ahead of time. We love that. If you don't have the opportunity to chat in questions right now, give us a call. We'll hear the phone ringing. If you want to ask a question ahead of schedule, we'll keep track of it. You can email that to us. That's what Zara did.
Yes.
And we'll be ready to answer it next Wednesday. But for now, Kathy asked me a question about berberine. So I thought I'd go over berberine a little bit with you. For those of you that don't know, berberine is an herb. And in the last few years, it's got more and more popular because there have been a few peer-reviewed studies on it showing that it helps in a couple of specific areas. Now, to be real clear, if you Google berberine right now, you're going to hear that it does a lot of things. What I'm going to claim it does are things that I've read studies on berberine proving it does. So I'm not going to talk about a lot of things, just a few things that we can prove. So on berberine, it's been studied and shown to support healthy blood sugar levels. It helps the body regulate blood sugar levels. I'm going to dork out about that in just a minute, don't worry. It's also been shown to help with lipids. So when we talk about lipids, we're talking about cholesterol, we're talking about triglycerides, things we commonly measure on blood work when we go to our doctor. Now I have AMPK written in here, okay? Don't worry, there won't be a quiz later, and please stay with me. This is really cool stuff. AMPK regulates cellular energy. It's actually the master regulator for it. So it's the one that helps make sure your cells have this balanced kind of energy output. It is activated by stress, including low blood sugar levels. So if our blood sugar dips below a certain point, it's very likely that AMPK is going to kick in and get activated to help us stabilize those blood sugar levels. So in a study, it was found that berberine supported the action and made AMPK more efficient in its work. So at a time of stress caused by low blood sugar, you can use berberine to support the way your body would naturally correct and adapt to a low blood sugar. That's pretty cool. There are products on the market that are called Berberine HCl. Now, I don't think these are going to hurt you, but these are far more likely to have what we would call a side effect, okay? That's probably not going to send you to the hospital or anything like that. Your toes aren't going to fall off, nothing like that. But berberine HCl is not a whole food. So you want to look for a berberine supplement that's made out of the whole plant. The one that I like is by MediHerb. Believe it or not, most of you, if you've watched this stream before, you know, love me some MediHerb. The MediHerb berberine is the whole plant. So we're way less likely to have any kind of unwanted impact. Yeah? And quick little pro tip, you can use milk thistle to boost the absorption of berberine. Naturally, our gut doesn't pull in a lot of berberine when we take it as a supplement, but if you take milk thistle, it will enhance the way your body can uptake berberine, which would make it more potent. So if you're looking to take berberine, I'm going to recommend you work with a qualified health professional. And if you don't have one of those, reach out to us. We'll talk to you about what's going on and see if berberine potentially with some milk thistle to boost its absorption, would be the right thing for you. That's my spiel on berberine. Did somebody already ask a question?
Well, no, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
There's the message here that says we're telling your followers that you've started a live video, but
Good.
no one is
Okay.
there, and I just tested it, and I'm not coming up.
Give it 2 minutes.
You sure?
I am.
Okay.
There's a delay.
All right.
Yeah. Good. Two Boots is on it, folks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there now?
No, it's not.
No? Okay. Give it a
I
minute.
just never seen it. There's an eye here. Okay, I'll trust you, Drew.
Cool.
All right.
So that's the spiel on berberine. People like to use it for low blood sugar most commonly. And if that's something you're looking to do, there are studies proving that berberine can help that. Whether or not it's appropriate for you is something for you to talk about with a qualified health professional.
Okay. Now I do think there's something not right.
Okay, might have some technical difficulties going on.
Yeah, because I'm seeing notes on my phone, but not on the screen here where we're recording.
Ooh.
So I need your expertise.
Excuse me.
Yes. I mean, it's clearly coming over because someone's asking questions about berberine. Okay. Yeah. Normally I would, I mean, when I go live on here with me, opening it, I usually see it within 15
All right,
seconds.
funky.
Yeah.
But you have your phone open. You can see the questions getting chatted in.
Yeah.
All right, everybody in Instagram land.
Okay.
It's not showing up on the phone we're using to stream to Instagram. Fortunately, Lori Two Boots LeClaire is incomparable. And she has her phone with her, so she'll be able to read those questions off from her phone, then I'll answer them for you. So you can keep chatting them in. So what do we got, Two Boots?
All right, so John is asking, I think it's well, he says, what about amphetamines?
Yeah, what about amphetamines? What would you like to know about amphetamines? Keeping in mind, I'm not a licensed medical doctor.
Well, while we wait for him to get back to you on that, I'll ask Zara's first question.
Yeah.
Has to do with a 3-year-old.
Okay.
Apparently he slightly twitches in the middle of the night. Could be arm, a leg, parts of his torso. It's random. It lasts a split second. It's not every night. Just didn't know if this is something that is of a concern, or
could be an arm or a leg.
Could be arm or leg, even parts of the torso.
I think
it just comes and goes, and it's pretty quick, just a split second.
All right. So I'm writing this down like this. As I do more professional trainings for different providers, I'm trying to teach them how I take notes just for the key things I'm listening for. Not saying that's the best way or the only way to take notes, but I want to make sure that they are hearing other ways or the way that I find easiest to take notes. So it's a 3-year-old who twitches during sleep, could be arm, leg, or torso. The episodes are short, maybe a few seconds long. That's really common, first and foremost. That's very much so a 3-year-old kind of thing for them to twitch, which would be different than a convulsion or a seizure, like a twitch. I'm not dealing with like a high level of concern about this, but I'll tell you what most 3-year-olds really benefit from is getting some good calcium and magnesium, because most foods are deficient nowadays. So I'm going to try to put those things back in, because calcium and magnesium are very soothing, especially to muscles. They also help the way your nervous system conduct signals or send messages, which could be part of the twitching also. 3 years old is definitely old enough to take some whole food supplements, so we're good to go there. I like the idea of calcium lactate or Mintran by standard process. So I would look at calcium lactate or Mintran by standard process to help out. For a 3-year-old, 1 or 2 a day would probably work all sorts of wonders. It's also got a food source of iodine if you take the Mintran, which is incredible for a developing brain, even at the age of 3. That's what I do for the little character.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do we get a response about the amphetamines?
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Ooh.
You can decide.
Let's see. Look, I'm looking at a screen. Jeez, classic file. Ben, come down and hang out sometime, man. I hope you're trolling. Might have my first real troll here. And I'm probably going to get some government attention on my Instagram profile now because he's dropping those words on there. Thanks for coming out, Ben. Try again next time.
All right. I have another kid question.
Fire away.
All right. So this question says, what can I give a child who comes down with a fever to naturally support them during this time?
Oh, okay. We're going to talk about the fever breaker protocol. Fever breaker protocol is something I've used a couple hundred times throughout my career. It's safe for kiddos. It's safe for adults also. And it goes down to the idea behind what's going on when a fever is taking place in the body. So often the body heats itself up. Now, a lot of people are already saying, oh yeah, I know this. The body heats itself up to cook off the infection. Yeah. No. If the body heated itself up to a level where it can actually kill an infection like a virus, it would also hurt the body. So it's not what it's doing. The body heats up to release calcium. Oh man, why did I just blank on how to release?
Oh,
nope. Yeah, thank you. Hello. Guess it's all those amphetamines. All right, heats up to release calcium from the bones. A little bit of increase in our body temperature can get our bones, especially our long bones, the bigger ones, to release some calcium. Why is that so important? Calcium helps the immune system to function. You may have heard things like terms like T cell or B cell, different parts of our immune system. And that is a big old rabbit hole that you can dive way deep into because there's different types of those cells. But here's the big idea. Calcium is one of the nutrients the immune system uses to make sure these cells can do their jobs. And part of their jobs is attacking invaders like different immune challenges. So the body knows that there is calcium inside the bones, and with a little bit of increase in heat, it will start to release some of that calcium into the bloodstream. Okay? Instead of having the body need to warm up to release the calcium, if we take a very ionizable or an easy to use form of calcium and ingest it, the body won't have a reason to heat itself up. It'll be getting calcium from an external source instead of an internal source like our bones. So I just mentioned it in the last write-up, but I'll say it again. Calcium lactate by standard process is my go-to. Now this is handy because it comes in a powder or a tablet. So if you're able to swallow tablets, you can pop some of these tablets. If not, or if you're working with somebody who can't swallow pills, you can use the powder. and you can stir it into anything you like. Hot beverage, cold beverage, applesauce, whatever gets it in so you can deal with the fever. Now, to break the fever, you're going to use the calcium lactate to help, and you're going to give it about an hour to an hour and a half to actually work. And if it doesn't break by then, you're going to have to try something different. I also want to make sure that I'm very clear about this. If the fever is exceeding 102 degrees, don't even try this. Don't mess around with it. Get with a health professional. Get it resolved. We don't want anybody getting too hot, okay? So this is for a little bit of fever. I really want everybody to stay safe out there. And what you do is you either take 2 tablets or a quarter teaspoon of the powder every 15 minutes. And then you take the temp every 15 minutes. Take the temperature every 15 minutes, give the calcium every 15 minutes. And what you're looking for is to see that fever start to come down. That the body says, hey, I don't have to heat up bones to release calcium to help the immune system because I'm getting calcium lactate on a regular basis, and that's going to work just as well to support the immune system and its action. You can do it any time of day. There are no known side effects. And please keep in mind, if the fever is above 102 degrees, it's probably out of the realm of this fever breaker protocol. If at any time you're dealing with a fever and you don't feel comfortable working on it with this, or it doesn't seem to be working, cut the cord, get to a health professional.
All right, it looks like our next question, ZZ. I have a feeling Zara found her way to Instagram.
Cool.
Because one of the questions she submitted was similar to this, that she was only on YouTube before where you couldn't submit questions.
Yes.
All right, so here she goes. It says, hello, Drew. I have a question about a 32-year-old man diagnosed with colitis, experiencing colon and gallbladder inflammation, and vomiting every other day. Any advice? God bless you.
Thank you very much.
So,
the diagnosis,
colitis, colon and gallbladder inflammation.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, and vomiting every other day.
Yeah.
Oh, and just to clarify, this is actually Zara's sister-in-law.
I thought you said it was a man.
No, the man. No, I'm sorry. The one who's chatting the question in
okay.
is Zara's sister-in-law.
Yes.
Okay.
How frequently is the vomiting happening?
Every other day.
All right. 32-year-old male, history of inflammation in the intestines and a weakening in the walls of the intestines. And then cholecystitis, that's the fancy way of saying an inflamed gallbladder. Now, historically in my career, if we saw nausea or vomiting happening on a regular basis, it was almost always because of a gallbladder-related issue. So to hear the gallbladder is inflamed is not shocking or surprising to me at all. What we want to do to help that, we'll talk about that first, is we want to make sure that we thin the bile. Our liver makes the bile, and then it stores it in the gallbladder, so on a moment's notice, the product is ready to ship out. Bile helps us digest fat. It also helps lubricate our intestines, so everything keeps moving through the right way. If a gallbladder gets inflamed, it can't necessarily pump out that bile on a moment's notice or at the right tempo. And one of the ways we can help that is by thinning the bile so it's easier to move it. I'll put it to you this way. It's easier to drink water through a straw than it is to drink Jell-O through a straw. Okay? To thin the bile, we really like beets. Beets work wonders, but you got to do the leaves with them, the beet tops. Okay? If you can eat those on a regular basis, we're talking 2-3 times a week, then over time, your body will be able to thin bile. Now, that's a lot of dedication when it comes to beets. You got to really like beets to eat them 3 times a week. Okay? If you're not here for that, there's a supplement that's called Beta Food. And what it is it's concentrated beets and their tops in a tablet form. Since he's already dealing with an inflamed gallbladder, I'm going to encourage him to start small with a dose of 2 a day. I've seen people go all the way up to 6 a day, though, to really get that bile thinned out. Beta Food is something that I've had clients use before they go on cruises or before they're going to go on flights, starting a week or two before the travel to help them deal with the nausea that they would experience when traveling. It's also something I've used with pregnant ladies to help them deal with the nausea that comes with morning sickness. That should help out the gallbladder quite nicely. Should not have any kind of negative influence on the colitis. The action of bile, one of the actions of bile can be to really help out the intestines by balancing the pH of the intestines. So I only see that helping. But to be more direct about the colitis, so we want to soothe the intestines. And then we want to promote the lining of the intestines. A couple of ways to do that. One of the best foods on earth to do that is okra. So I hope you like produce that's just a little bit slimy when you eat it. But okra is delicious if you fry it up and put some salt and some pepper on top of it. It's very easy to eat. Other thing that's really wonderful to help accomplish this is going to be bone broth. People like to ask me, Drew, should it be beef? Should it be chicken? Should it be oxtail? Should it be turkey feed? Yes. Just make bone broth and drink it. It's really, really nourishing to you. Those two foods are really excellent at supporting the soothing and the lining of the intestines. Now you can get a little bit more aggressive without really messing anything up. And to do that, we would use Gastrex, which is a supplement. One of its ingredients is actually okra. And most people do really well on this one, also in the range of 2 to 6 a day. Really good nourishment. Just had a young lady in earlier today. She was having difficulty with her bowels. They really weren't formed and still difficult to pass, which is a weird combo.
It is.
Young lady, 2 Gastrex a day. Haven't seen her for 6 weeks. Mom comes in with her and says, yep, her poops are perfect. Took about 2 days. She's had perfect poops ever since. Awesome. That's a really inexpensive way to support those intestines. So for this person, this 32-year-old male with those issues, I'm thinking some beets, some okra, some bone broth, maybe a little Beta Food, maybe a little Gastrex.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Well, now I have to ask Zara's question about her 32-year-old male. That's why I thought it was her, but
Gotcha.
Maybe they each have a 32-year-old male in their life. But Zara's situation is her 32-year-old male has shortness of breath. Are there any natural remedies, and can a parasite cleanse help with this?
32-year-old male.
Shortness of breath.
All right, parasite cleanse. Would that help? Maybe. Okay, that's a big old maybe. Because I want to go over historically what I've seen causing shortness of breath. A lot of different things. Lack of vitamin E. I've seen it be because a lack of trace minerals, including iron. I've also seen that it is because the diaphragm is not working correctly. And then, of course, heart stress. So I'm definitely not going to try to diagnose any of those things over Instagram or YouTube. But I do want to talk about different things I've done to help these issues in the past once it's been determined the cause of the shortness of breath. So if it is the diaphragm, that is the one time the parasite cleanse could be really good for it. Diaphragm, just so we're clear, those are the muscles at the bottom of your lungs. And if you're really taking a deep breath, your shoulders don't have to move up at all, because your diaphragm should pull your lungs down and let them expand downward, and your rib cage should actually flex out a little bit at the bottom. That would be the ideal thing. The diaphragm has a lot to do with what's going on with the liver and the upper digestive tract. I'm going to write GI here. So, doing something that gets rid of parasites could be really good for that. One of my most favorite basic things to do is going to be our dear friend Spanish black radish, because it helps the liver and supports the upper digestive tract. It's also something that's relatively irritating to things like parasites. So while it's not a parasite cleanse, when the immune system goes to work on the removal of parasites, Spanish black radish is a really good helper. Spanish black radish is the Robin to the immune system's Batman. If it's heart stress, oh boy, I want to know what type. Because then there's going to be all sorts of things that we would do to support that. But we got to know the type of heart stress that person is dealing with. Do they have plaquing of their arteries? Do they have stenosis or stiffening of those blood vessels? Do they have a valve issue? There's all sorts of different things.
We're back on. Rescue Mama just.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we're back. Good.
Hey, yeah.
Great. I really want to know what type of heart stress is going on. So if that is what's going on with this person, jump in the chat and let me know. Lack of trace minerals, including iron. That can be one reason that we are dealing with this. There's a secret way to boost iron, and it's not taking iron. I'm going to say that again. The best way to boost iron levels in the body is not by taking iron. Okay? It's actually by using whole food vitamin C. Whole food vitamin C supports the way your body uses and reuses iron. It's involved in the chemical reactions associated with iron. So we want to make sure that we're promoting the efficiency of iron rather than throwing more things in a system. If you've ever noticed your computer is running slowly, one of the best things you can do to help your computer is close windows, shut down different tasks or different apps that are going on. Vitamin C is the equivalent of doing that for the way your body uses iron. It helps it be more efficient. And a lack of vitamin E. This is a big one, and a lot of people need this actually. The supplement I'm going to recommend is called Cataplex E2. I actually use it for altitude sickness all the time, or shortness of breath. People who feel like they always have to have a window open in the room they're in, or people who always like to have a window open when they're in their car, even if it is really hot or really cold outside, or even like raining. They usually need what is in Cataplex E2. It's a very specific part of the vitamin E complex, and it supports oxygenation of the blood, which is a really common reason that people become short of breath. So please reach out to me directly if you have more questions, because I realize I just told you a lot of reasons you could be short of breath and not exactly what to do about it. But there are a lot of reasons why you could be short of breath. All right, Two Boots. What questions are rolling in?
No new ones right now.
No new ones, okay. But our chat is showing up again. Woohoo!
Well, it's all very strange. I got the confirmation here, but it's Rescue Mama's not here. So
I think Instagram's having some technical difficulties tonight.
Something
Yeah,
wonky
something.
tonight.
No big deal.
As long as they're hearing you and
Or they're not hearing me, and that's why we don't know that they don't know that I'm here doing this.
Gosh.
But don't worry, Ben knows.
Oh, yes.
And that's what matters. That's what matters. Was there another question that came in from Zara?
You want to tackle that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if nobody chats in or if it doesn't show up on either phone, we'll wrap it for Wednesday.
All right. Zara says, I did a parasite cleanse with
Ooh.
my naturopath because of my severe eczema.
Okay.
Almost all of it went away. However, I have an inflamed lymph node under my chin, which is the only place I still have eczema, is her chin and neck. Okay. Any recommendation for perhaps a lymphatic drainage?
Yeah. So this is a really good thing for people to know. I'm going to draw a perfect example of human anatomy right here. This is exact. You can get that straight out of any physiology and anatomy textbook. That's exactly what they put in there. Don't know if you knew that.
Just keep getting better and better.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been practicing. Lots of notepads late at night.
Yes.
All right, so my stick guy is there to tell you about where you have basically 3 bands of lymph tissue. So there's one by your neck, there's one by your armpits, and there's one band by your hips. So when we have lymph-related issues, and it sounds like Zara is, it's usually going to be at one or more of these 3 areas. There is lymph tissue in other areas. I'm just telling you the 3 most common places that I've seen lymph-related issues going on. Now what's going on with Zara is this band right here. So we got to talk about lymph a little bit. We got to explain that. So lymph tissue is a bunch of tubes, like blood vessels, veins, and arteries. Except perfect. No pump. So what veins and arteries have going on for them is that they're connected to your heart, and your heart is pumping the liquid through the tubes. Lymph doesn't have that going on. So the way the liquid that's inside of lymph tissue moves is when you move your body, like if you bounce up and down. Maybe you've heard of rebounders before. That's something people do to help support the way lymph moves. You can also do really light, very gentle massage of the lymph tissue. That will also help it move. These little lymph tubes are really gentle, like are really delicate, so you have to be gentle. If you press them too hard, they kind of flatten out. It's like standing on a garden hose. It doesn't flow very well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. So if somebody is inflamed in a certain area, my first thought is, what's the next area to the south that gravity is naturally working on to pull that liquid through? And it's very likely that they're hung up at that area. So if a person is having an inflamed lymph node at their chin, their jaw, their neck, I'm thinking about that band of lymph tissue that's in the armpits. That's a female we're talking about, right? Okay, I didn't write that down. It's my bad. Female. It's not me grading myself. It's me reminding myself it's a female. I'm looking at that band. One of the most common things that messes with that band of lymph tissue in women is bras, especially underwire bras that can really cinch and press. And as I stated before, these little lymph tubes do not like a lot of pressure. So we're going to look south one stage or one level and look at what's going on with that level. At this level, most common offender is going to be the bra or something tight, squeezing that tissue, flattening out that tube, not allowing gravity or movement of the body to help move the liquid through the tubes.
This seems like an appropriate time to mention that really cool book, Dressed to Kill.
Yeah, oh, that is a good time to mention that.
Yeah.
So, Dressed to Kill is the name of the book.
With those underwire bras.
Yeah, they talk about belts, they talk about different kinds of socks, they talk about underwire bras, all sorts of things. Wonderful book. I don't think it's in print anymore, so if you find a copy, covet it. It's really good. So we're going to look south one level and look for the thing that might be offending at that level. And then we also want to support those tissues. So really gentle massage downward in your armpits can be a wonderful thing to help that lymph tissue start to move. Making sure that you're stretching out the muscles in between your ribs. Making sure you're getting a little bit of trunk rotation on a regular basis is also a really good thing to help keep all that open so that anything that's at this band of lymph has an easier time flowing down and is not getting caught up at that level. There are a lot of manufacturers of women's undergarments nowadays that are ditching the underwire, that are finding materials that are much more natural and still supportive without choking off that lymph tissue. It's a really good thing. I'm really glad that that stuff exists. That's what I would have you do. I'm also going to mention my favorite supplement for lymph tissue.
Oh, SBR.
You got it. Spanish black radish. Spanish black radish helps your body remove a lot of the things that irritate lymph tissue by supporting the way the liver cleans itself. If you have questions about whether or not Spanish black radish, which is in fact a type of radish like the kind you can grow in your garden that is black in color and hails from Spain, how could a food you could just grow in a garden help support the action of the liver? Well, head over to standardprocess.com, search Spanish black radish on their website, go to that page. On that page, there's a study proving that Spanish black radish supports the action of the liver in cleaning up the blood, which in turn helps the lymph. There you go. A real quick side note, all the Spanish black radish in the world won't help if somebody's getting choked to death by something around the lymph tissue, just flattening those hoses. So we got to make sure that the lifestyle is working with the supplements. It's not just a supplement to fix it. All right, did any other questions roll in on either device?
No.
No, okay. Thank you for tuning in. Whether you're watching it live or after the fact, even if your name is Ben, I appreciate everybody who tunes into these, chats into these, participates. It's great. We love sharing this information with all of you, and it helps keep us sharp because we never know what's coming at us. So we got to stay up on our game ahead of time so that we're ready for all the questions that roll in here. Please remember, anytime you have a question, you can call us at 262-505-5012. If you're watching us on Instagram, I want to make sure you know about our YouTube, same handle. If you're watching us on YouTube, I want to make sure you know about our Instagram, same handle. You can head over to our website and learn more about us, and you can also shoot us an email at 3dnewberlin@gmail.com. I really hope you have a great week, and you'll see me next Wednesday for our Wednesday weekly workshop where you can ask Drew anything. Have a great week.